I'm Mike Rodger with Investing News Network here at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. I'm here with Mehdi Azodi with Quest Rare Minerals. Quest trades on the New York and Toronto Stock Exchanges under the ticker QRM. Quest deposit is in a Strange Lake in Quebec. Thank you for joining me, Mehdi.
Thanks for having me.
Just a few quick questions.
Sure, great.
So, China, in complying with the WTO regulations, how is that likely to impact their export quotas and the resulting price of rare earths?
That's a very good question. I mean, we've always been faced with what China's going to do. It's always been, I guess you call it the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And China's actually complied with the WTO to the extent that they can. And, this is the one area that they rely on their industry to not import any of these metals. So, but what really benefits Quest and really looking at this environment is that the light rare earths is not what we're focused on. We're focused on the heavy rare earth. And that's something that China does not have its stranglehold on and cannot work effectively on. So to answer your question really effectively is they don't really control what the heavies do, and we're focused on the economics of the heavies, the critical rare earths, as pointed out by the Department of Energy, the dysprosium, yttrium, terbium, and neodymium, which is a light, but it is considered to be the critical. So whether those quotas are set out or not, it's not affected in that environment, and it's not affected in that landscape, so we could actually benefit from it.
Okay, good. So the new export quotas that we're actually reducing the amount that they would export, that won't affect you either?
Well, export quotas always affect the market. I mean, in the short term, we've seen a lot of, if you go back 2 years ago, we saw when these quotas were coming on and the market was acting very strangely and really sending the markets to a very parabolic level. Right now, we're seeing the market's been quite neutral. I mean, the industrial users and the end users are noticing that there is supply of rare earths out there, so it's given them opportunity to go out and purchase these rare earths and help them into their engineering and manufacturing, and they don't have to worry about recycling or they don't have to worry about coming up with new technologies. How it really benefits us in the short term, or may hurt us in the short term, is really what the markets perceive it. But in the long term, in 2016, 17, 18, when projection of our projects is to come online, the supply-demand chart is going to be much different. We know by then China's not going to actually be exporting the numbers that they said they will, so those numbers will go dramatically lower. So that's where we'll benefit from it. That's where we'll come into that online supply, and China's numbers will go lower. They'll actually start to, as they said, import the heavies. So once they start to import the heavies, that's when we kind of meet that crossroad, which will be quite positive.
Excellent. So you came out with a new resource estimate in October that basically doubled the size of the resource.
Right.
Can investors expect more upside with the deposit?
Yeah. So I mean, good question. One thing I like to point out about the rare earth sector and really about our sectors, I mean, the resource is defined, and when you put out this big, massive deposit of 500 million tons, it's you look at it and it could get bigger. I mean, it's, the old terms, it's open, it is open for exploration. But the significance of us putting out that resource is for cherry picking our deposit. I mean, we're not talking about mass, large, mining like gold or copper. These are not that very big of deposits.
So you've defined what you think would be the best part to mine.
We've defined what's going to be the best part to mine. It's 4,000 tons per day. So the new resource, it's given us an opportunity to actually go after a higher grade material. It actually allows us to, it's given the engineers and the mine builders that we have working with us to really cherry pick the deposit for the first several years, first couple of years, to make our payback much faster. And that's the environment we're in right now. Everybody wants to see how fast your payback's going to be, how economic is this. So a higher resource, yes, it's much bigger, it's better, and everyone talks about the bigger these deposits are, the better, but it's really, are they economic? Are they actually going to, are these larger grades going to be able to give you a positive numbers that the market's going to react positively to? So
is the payback going to be fast enough?
Yeah. So a larger deposit with lower grades and not being feasible is not really anything that the market's interested in. So if I've had that question, and the simple answer is, given the luxury of such a big, massive deposit, we can cherry pick our way around it, go after the high grade material, which is pretty much closer to 2 times the grade, from the average grade of the ore body, and it reduces our payback, and it makes everyone's job a lot more easier, I guess you could say.
And potentially mine more and more over a longer period of time, but focus on the high grade, get the numbers to be as good as possible, and leave the lower grade for later years.
Right. So like kind of going back to, if supply-demand curves, maybe you don't know where the supply and demand is going to be necessarily 10, 15 years from now.
Right.
If you do know it is going to be higher, if you do see the trend moving, at that time, once we're online and on stream, we could then really, open up to a larger production. But for the first few years, much more concentrated, much more focused, but having that luxury is very positive.
Excellent. Good. So, Strange Lake is one of the most advanced projects in Canada. Your intent is to be in production in 2017.
That's correct.
Obviously, a lot of work to do between now and then. But are there any big hurdles, sort of things that would really set you back?
Well, you know what I mean. These are a lot of advancing projects right now. So there's a lot of I's you got to dot and a lot of T's you got to cross. So government and working with the right respected parties, that's very important. We have a dedicated team internally, and we've hired some very professional people that actually deal in this environment. So addressing it, I think the hurdles is knowing that you're going to come across issues that going from a junior mining company, junior exploration to a developing into a production company is it's important to know what hurdles you're going to come across. It's knowing that you have the right management, you have the right people, the team is always growing, the team is always evolving to take the new challenges. So there's going to be challenges that we're going to be faced with, but having the right people on board, having the expertise of people going through this is going to benefit us to really understand how to navigate in these circumstances. So like any other company, we're going to face decisions to make and challenges to address, and I'm sure we will.
Lots of work to do, but
lots of work,
that's okay.
A lot of heavy lifting.
Right. Are you thinking as far advanced as offtake or strategic partners, or who you would sell to?
Very much so. I mean, as the evolution of our corporation over the past few years, and really over the past 12 months, I mean, we've evolved from becoming a lot more than just an exploration company. I mean, we have people in place. Obviously, Peter Cashin runs this. He's the CEO, and majority of his task is running the company. Obviously, the people that are involved, but bringing the right talent, bringing in the right people that are actually going to enable us to go after the offtake. So Peter's been very active in Asia. We've traveled to Asia, Europe. We do have a gentleman that came on board with us, Gunther Tays, who is fully dedicated to working with the industrial users, going after the offtake agreements, and really speaking their language, speaking what it is they're looking for. So offtake, working with industrial users, working with the end users, that's a very big focus of our operation right now, and understanding their needs, what cost, economics, and how we're going to bridge that gap and kind of work closer together. So being ahead of the curve means having those talks in place, working closely with these partners, and we need them and they need us. It's just that simple.
So if you were to pick 5 words for our investor audience to use to describe Quest, have you got 5 words that you'd give me?
5 words. Well, advanced, big, great jurisdiction.
Excellent.
Is that 4?
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this has been Mike Rodger with Investing News Network. I've been here with Mehdi Azodi from Quest Rare Minerals. Quest trades on both the New York Stock Exchange and the Toronto Stock Exchange as QRM.